I see the intro.
Welcome, everybody. This is VR Jungle, a Havoc podcast. And holy cow, we have a full table this week. I'm very excited for this one. It was supposed to happen last week, but I think just a whole bunch of miscommunication, a lot of time switches. But we have Dylan and Dane from Arena Rivals. And obviously, we have I need to really switch this to mirror. We have my naked co-host, Pickle Ostrich, right here, the lovely avatar.
Hey, guys.
How's everyone doing today?
Doing
Awesome.
good.
Yep.
Good.
Doing pretty good over here, too.
Doing good. Good week. So you all just had a release, right?
Yeah. We're in public beta and app lab right now. So it's like,
Discoverable, though.
Say what?
Discoverable now, though, right?
Like, people can, yeah.
Yeah, before it was like super private and stuff. Like we'd have to have like your email, your Oculus email, your school schedule, list of fears, all that kind of stuff in order just to get you inside of the thing. It was really a lot of friction to be able to make that happen. But we are actually able to now publicly searchable, available. If you go inside like the Oculus app, mobile app or whatever, and you type in Arena Rivals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if people know this. Like, some people know this and some people don't. But if you go down to the bottom, like in the Oculus phone app or whatever, if you put in the search like Arena Rivals or any other App Lab game, at the very bottom, it goes additional searches available in the App Lab. You have to hit yes.
Yep.
We'll populate it, and then that's how you can download the game. That's where we're at, and so we're in the minor leagues of Oculus / Meta right now, working our way to the top.
Hey, at least now you don't have to do all that hard work of just putting everyone's email in, trying to contact them. It's now like, hey, this is us. Eventually, like you all are gonna eventually have like social medias out there, get bigger, all that fun stuff. But yeah, I don't know why Oculus doesn't just allow a new discoverable area instead of making it so difficult for App Lab people to see. And that's why I personally love SideQuest. I don't know if you all got onto the SideQuest list as well, or are going to be part of it, or how that's going to go.
Yeah, we're definitely going towards SideQuest right now. Getting that all ready. We want to become available on the App Lab, and so I think we're just going to get together some material and stuff and put that together. I don't know, Dane, what are your thoughts on the whole SideQuest thing?
100%. We'd love to reach the players on there. The SideQuest players are kind of our favorite players because they're experimental, Like they're like hungry for content, and they appreciate good content. They don't. I think people on SideQuest appreciate good content more than curated content.
Yeah.
And the App Store, the Oculus or the MetaQuest or whatever you want to call it, right? The Meta Store, like they're curated content, and so you're not getting the best of the best stuff really, because there are games on SideQuest that are better than games inside of like the public store. So I really like the folks that are like, we want the best stuff, we want it before anyone else sees it. And they're willing to deal with bugs because games are newer. They're more passionate about it. We had a 10-year-old kid come into our game, and I was like, you know how to use SideQuest? He's like, yeah, bro, it's how I do it.
Yeah, it's like, man, because you have to go and actually push your whole Oculus to developer mode, and you have to make yourself a developer and create an account. Like, these kids are getting pretty smart to be able to do that. If they see something free and their mom's not going to pay them for a game, they'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, never come between a kid and his fun, man. They'll figure it out, man. They'll craft some way. They'll hack their way through the top. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If I wasn't so busy with esports stuff right now, I used to do a SideQuest. I used to pick a SideQuest game on Tuesdays and then stream it on Wednesdays and show like do a podcast about it. But anymore, like my life right now is contractors, and that's all it's been. So.
That's awesome.
Harold, see, why weren't you on our last Rival Standing tournament?
So it was Saturday afternoon, right?
Yeah.
That's probably why. If you guys put it on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, the most likely I'll be there. Oh, I know why. Because Saturday we were supposed to have a contractors game against some people from Italy, and it got canceled. And so then I told my wife, I go, hey, it got canceled. I'm going out to drink. And then I just did that.
We'll never get to know if you or Jelk or Pickle is better now.
You know,
Yeah.
if it comes
I
to the
mean,
LRS, I believe that's what you all did for the tournament, which is last rival standing, correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Naked Pickle Ostrich would destroy me.
yeah, we just got to do a 1v1, but I don't know if it would. I don't know if there'd be much of a show. No, no
It
offense.
it's just he's got that rocket down. You know, he just got everything about bouncing around everywhere. There was one night where I'm just like, all right, one more, one more. I tried to beat him. I'm just like, all right, whatever. I give up trying to beat you right now.
We've had lots of nights like that where me and Garrett would just 1v1 in like every game we have.
Yeah, and then I go, hey, how about this? We go get on knock, and then I'll go whoop you. So.
Yeah, or 11 table tennis.
Oh yeah, don't you can't mess with me.
Yeah.
11 table tennis.
Yeah, he's really good at
Pretty
table
good at that.
tennis.
I went to
But he
go play
can't
that
beat me in
yesterday.
Blast On
No,
or Iron Rebellion.
yeah, not at
How'd you
all.
guys hook up together the first time?
What was that?
What's that?
How'd you guys end up hooking up together? Like,
Oh.
what yeah, what team
Interesting
up?
story.
Yeah.
So basically, like the beginning of my VR stuff is like when I first got a headset. My very first game was Population 1, and I originally saw the Population 1 Discord, and then I saw these people making other Discords. I'm like, I want a community, and so I made mine and started doing tournaments. Well, at the same time, him and a few other people were doing the Hunts tournament, and they came over. They're like, hey, what are you kind of doing? I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to get anything big. I just want to try and build a team eventually. And they're like, oh, cool. And so I think me and him versus each other in one of the very first tournaments that he hosted. And then he came and played one of my very first Sunday Fun Days, and we won that tournament in my Discord.
Yeah. So I'll give a bit more explanation on what the Hunt League was, which is it was a league that I ran for Population 1. It was like I believe it was the second league ever for the game. And it was me and this one guy named MTS Reaper, and me and him would run it. And then we also had Evil 9mm helping us out with that, which he's another he's another Pop 1 player. But yeah, we'd throw these tournaments, and in the first tournament we threw for the first season of it, it was me and Geralt on the same team, as well as this one guy named Hey It's Finn. And the goal was to get the most kills out of the lobby, and you compete against your friends, or whoever you're partied with. So like we get so it was like I think it was like 2 points for a res, 1 point for a kill, and we did that to incentivize people to actually res their teammates instead of just leaving them down, because that sounds, that doesn't sound very fun to just be out of the match. And so yeah, in the tournament I ended up getting grouped up with Geralt and Finn, and we were competing against that, and Finn ended up beating us both, but it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was a good time. That was a long time ago. So yeah, that's kind of our history. And then I tried to get him to join the Population 1 team of Havoc, and he said no, I'm not interested in that. And then the game Larsnauts came out, and I don't think we talk here and there. And then Larsnauts came out, and then he's like, yo, I'm really digging this game. And I'm like, this is the only game I play right now. So I was like, let's create a team, and we ended up creating one of the best teams right now, I guess, the world. I mean, if how you ever want to put it. Yeah, we were
We'll see
unbeatable.
when China comes in with the Pico port. But yeah, I mean, well, that's assuming I even play that game ever again. But that's a side note. But yeah.
South Korea e-gaming talent out there, man. They take it very serious. So I'd love to see it when they come out, the World Olympics of VR sports, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nutty. Pretty nutty. Every like 2 years, a whole bunch of people around the world get together and just play video games with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of moms just yelling at you. Yeah.
What's up?
I got a question for you, actually. How would you describe our game?
How would I describe your game? So I would say Arena Rivals is a hero shooter. Personally, I like the 2v2s. I know you like the 2v2s too. You and me both are all about the 2v2s. But yeah, you choose your characters. I mean, it's pretty basic for a hero shooter. Like you kill the enemy team and you get the points, and you get 1 life per round, and it's almost like a fighting game too, though. It's like a kind of hybrid, because you got the combos, and you got you got all the different characters, and you got 1 life per round. It actually does have a lot of similarities to a fighting game. So it's a hero shooter / fighting game.
That was one of my biggest complaints with all the VR shooters I'd play. You couldn't ever chain combo shots together, and that was one of the biggest things you could do in like the old Quake games or Unreal Tournament. You could like pop someone in the air with a rocket, switch to the rail, and shoot them in the air with a rail, and you can't do that like Pop One or other games because you got the weapon wheel. It's so difficult to switch. So we decided to try to build a feature in the game where instead of using the right joystick for snap turns, you could use the right joystick to quickly switch weapons and then do these sweet combos together and chain these shots together, get these flow states. But then Pickle, you don't actually use the right joystick to change. You use the different setting. Actually.
Yeah, I use the grip setting, so like I just go boop, boop. I just double tap it to switch between. I like to keep the rocket, but then I'll switch to shotgun and just pop, 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 pop. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of us like we got used to using the thumbstick to switch weapons, right? And we put the other ones in there, and it's hard to switch it. I remember one time because we actually have a left-handed mode inside the game. So if you're a lefty, you can actually play that way. And I'm left-handed, but I've been using the right-handed control the whole time. And then Dane was trying to talk to me about accuracy. I'm like, I'm actually left-handed. So then I tried to switch, and while I do have an aim, I can't figure out the buttons. I'm like, you know what? I'm just good. I'm just gonna. I've learned it this way. Now I'm a right-handed with this game. It's in the system. I'm done with it. But those are the options there. The cool thing about that is making customizations. So whatever like really resonates with you or whatever, you can kind of switch the buttons around to make those things happen. I know somebody was getting stuck with the grips constantly gripping, and so being able to turn it down. So if you get stuck with the grip controllers, you don't actually get to do that force 360 that sometimes that Oculus
joystick drift,
that spinning wheel of death,
Yeah.
So like there's like 3 things on the wheel, right? There's 3 that I believe that's correct, right?
You mean weapons? There's 4 weapons.
But so the clipping though, like I haven't tried the clipping. I've only used a wheel. So like you have to literally go all the way around. You go clip, 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 clip.
Yeah, you just like what I do is I mash it. So like if I have the rockets at the top, so I'll just mash either side twice. Like I'll just do it really fast to kind of cancel the animation a little bit to get there faster than just switching, back and forth.
You can go either way, girl. TC, you can go this way or this way with the weapons. So
yeah.
Okay.
Works out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like the visual effect of what I'm doing. I think me clicking, I'd end up using like my alt and try and like revive somebody when I did not mean to do that at all. I like
that revival though. I like what you did there with the point system in the game, man. When you're talking about having 2 points for revivals, because sometimes in the games, some games are incentivized to be like a solo in the team game. They create these things where it's like they misincentivize the point structure so that it's all about like, give me the ball. I want to win. I'm going to do this. I'm going to whatever. And you forget that you're actually on a team, right? And it feels good to play those people. So it's like really like I love having the extra points for revivals and things like that so that people actually realize it's more important to stick with your team than it is to try to like solo the whole thing, which is pretty cool.
We're gonna build a point system actually in our game that will value the healer will do quite well with the new point system we're going to roll out in the game. Cause like we'll roll out a point system where every hit point of damage you do will be a point, but also every hit point of healing. And then also if you heal your ally and then they do damage, say in the next 5 seconds, you're contributing to them doing damage. So you get to carry over damage from the ally you just healed. And so healers will sit pretty high on the leaderboard because they in fact do contribute the most often.
That's actually a really good point, because like in Larcenauts, healers got punished for healing because of the point system. They'd have to, they'd get like crap points for like pocketing people, so there was no incentive on it. So almost all the healers in the game became some of the best DPS in the game just by going out and surviving forever while like just killing everybody. Like I played Imperia, she had the bow, and I just go pow bah, bah. That's how you shoot it. You go
That's why I
instead
like.
of actually healing.
That's why when in point systems, I like chain assisting. So like technically, when you're
Oh, yeah.
healing, if you're lacking because you're using one of your, you're using one thing to heal somebody. And some characters you can't switch from healing to shooting. It's either just healing or you have to switch and then you can finally shoot. So I've seen like even like I think an Overwatch is one of the games that depend on the character they'll give you an assist if you're kind of pocketing those people for healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, because it's amazing to have the healing on the team because it has these great turnaround effects, especially because we got with our healers got that res,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like I don't like dodgeball, right? You get knocked out of the game and someone else brings you back in. You're like, I'm back in it. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, our healer's kind of a bit of an affliction as well. It's like lots of healing, but also can stack those dots over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be scary. But then everybody gangs up on the healer and then beats him up. And
Yep.
Yeah, if
And
you're the only
for-
one on, with the 2v2 and you're the healer, it's pretty much. I think last time when Pickle and I played, it was I'm
yeah.
just running around in a circle waiting for my ult to
Yeah,
go.
we just had Geralt stall the whole time.
Yeah. Running around like a maniac with people bouncing around and shooting me. I'm like, I don't know what to even do right now besides run.
Yeah, and one thing I'm gonna say is Dylan mentioned dots. For those who don't know, that's damage over time.
dots and hots.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you really look at like in terms of like gameplay, there's like the holy trinity of gameplay characters, right? And so you have that DPS hunter that's got the bow and arrow, long range damage, but more precision, right? So if you've got good accuracy and you want to kind of solo around a bit, the hunter's awesome. But then you got Frank the tank, who's got the big shield, who's got the rocket launcher, the shotgun, just comes and just he's like Mr. Kool-Aid on a bad day, just brushing through the brush. Oh yeah, just knocking down the plate. So you got that guy, and then you got the healer. And like for me, I like to be the healer because I've always been like, me and you guys know Major. I've played with him a ton. I've always been the side seat character where I'm behind him and he's got more accuracy, and I'm just like healing him. I'm like, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. And so you got that holy trinity of that relationship, the DPS, the healer, and the tank all working together. And so that's kind of a bit of the fun that we have with the 2v2s or the 3v3s when you get at it.
Yeah, my hunter's the favorite character out of all of them. I do like
You
using.
like the hunter?
I like the hunter a lot, but I also like. I just get stuck in the healing role because if it's 2v2, it's just like you all move around way more like agile than me. I'm just sitting there. I'll be fine just poking you some health. I'm like, you guys go do what you all want to do. Here's a little health.
Go kill.
Go kill.
What do you guys? So I'll say a couple of things, and I have a question for you, Pickle. So thing I love about the game. So the way I kind of think about it is I'm sort of the primary founder of it with the initial vision, and then Dylan and everybody else are all co-founders, and so they all own equity in the game. I remember when I started this game and I was like chit-chatting with my heart, and my heart's like, this is going to be the greatest thing you ever do. Don't share equity with anyone. It's yours. You give away too much to everybody. Like a year in, I'm in tears. I'm like, you get equity. I love you guys so much. You guys made such a great game. But the thing with Rivals is like, I had like gold with the vision, but because of Dylan and his team and what we've done, it's been turned into diamonds, in my opinion. From what I had envisioned is turned from gold to diamonds. And the thing I love about the game is I'm a very passionate gamer with the tens of thousands of hours in all kinds of games, and nothing that sucks goes in the game. There's not a fucking single thing that sucks in Arena Rivals that we put in that game. And if it tries to go in, I squash it as fast as I possibly can. So it's literally got all of my favorite parts from every game I've ever played in one. And then all of the stuff that the teams contributed, which gave them co-founder status. So what I love about the game is there's nothing that sucks in it. So like I tried to play, I like Pop 1. I don't personally like Larcenauts. I've tried to get into Contractors. I've tried to get into Pavlov. I've tried to get into the first, what was the first shooter in there? It was kind of like a hyper dash.
It's like
for what? For Bust?
It was kind of like
hyper dash is a thing. But...
It was before hyper dash. It was kind of like the first VR shooter.
Snapshot.
No, it was kind of futuristic and it didn't do much at all. Like plopped right away. But like I played.
Was it Quest or PC VR?
It was Quest, and It was like a one-word thing, but that's why you can't remember it. How good would you be the developers of that game? Like, hey, can you remember it? No. So like you play like all these games, and like all the games like could just barely touch glory. Like they just barely. Like Pop 1 was the closest. I'd have most fun moments playing Pop, but it took me so long to get into those moments to have fun, and then those moments would be like 10 seconds, and I'd be done. So we wanted to create this game where it was constant fun as often as possible. And so that's why we designed the game loop that way. So you're like constantly in combat, constantly in flow, constantly enjoying yourself, constantly trying to manage between like 6 different abilities that you have and the 12 different abilities coming at you from the 2-on-2 if you're in a 2-on-2, and you got all this motion and energy happening. And it's the best feeling of any VR game I've played. Now, I tried Knock, and I tried the new Onvo or Alvo or Onzo.
Oh yeah, Alvo.
Alvo. I tried that, and they all, like, for me, they all miss the mark. Like either the aim doesn't feel intuitive, or I don't feel connected to the combat mechanics. And when I can't feel connected to the combat mechanics, I can't actually play a game reliably. And most of the games you can't feel connected to them because they're kind of sloppy. And like Halo comes out back in like the early 2000s, and like, man, was that super easy to feel connected to the mechanics in that game, and it just took off. You could feel how connected you could get to that game and the movement, the shooting. And so we tried to create that similar experience with Arena Rivals. And that's my favorite part of the game, is that I'm like really, really rigidly passionate about nothing that sucks goes in that game, not even for a moment. And so Dylan and I'm surprised we're still friends sometimes. And it's not that Dylan is introducing stuff that sucks, and like everything that I do is good. Like, we'll fight about it, but then if it goes in, if it sucks, we'll pull it. So it's constant experiments. It's been a wild ride to build a game. And from the second I said I wanted to build a game, I said I wanted to make a multiplayer VR game. And I was giving this little talk on an entrepreneur community about how I do my schedule. And Dylan happened to be on there listening about how I structure my schedule. And I just happened to mention, oh, by the way, guys, while I'm talking about nothing over here related, I'm going to make a multiplayer VR game. And Dylan private messaged me. He's like, hey, man, I heard you want to make a multiplayer VR game. And we actually have a multiplayer VR code base, and we're ready to go. I was like, what? What? I didn't even have to post like a job ad for a team. I didn't have to do anything. Like, they just came to me. And then like the team that came for Arena Rivals, literally built by 2 technical gods. Like the first guy, he's coded the entire game. And this is the guy that wins hackathons. Like he beats every other developer at hackathons, right? Like this is the guy that just smokes you, and he's not even trying. He's like, oh, I guess I'm the best. I don't know.
Is that Vincent?
That's Vincent, and you can't even tell because he's just like, yeah, I'm just crushing you with my code, and I'm just so smooth. And then like you've got like Corey, who was like recruited by Blizzard and designed for the Clone Wars, and like led teams of 100 people on creative artistic fronts. He's the absolute most greatest design beast I could ever imagine, and I did nothing to find them. They came to me to build a game. Like that's never been. It's been the most wild experience for me to say yes to a passion. Of mine that's been a passion since I was 12, but I never felt worthy enough to make a game. I didn't know I had a worth point for it. I was just like, it wasn't even a thought. That's how the worth point says. Like, I can do a successful business. I can go out and solve someone's problem. I can build like, a generic software product for a niche. I can write a book. I can do a course, but games, I won't even go there. I wouldn't even my brain just wouldn't even allow me. It's like, you're not worthy of games. Well, I see the universe has been proving me wrong with this. all these people coming in. So that's kind of a little bit of a soapbox speech about the origins of Rivals. And that wasn't the original name. And thank God Dylan's still with me all the times I've changed the name.
Oh, jeez.
I'll tell you the first names, man. The first names were, the game is inspired from a Quake 3 mod called Q3F, which was a Team Fortress Classic mod on Half-Life.
It's a mod of a mod.
Mod of a mod. And so Q3F was like the thing. And the best thing in Q3F was this map called Q3F_duel. And you'd go out and there's a fucking ugly gray circle. And you'd go out one-on-one and just shoot another soldier with grenades and rockets and a shotgun. And like, it was just the most fun experience in the world. Just one-on-one with one other human, no distractions, pure human on human combat. And it was so fun. So I was like, let's make that and let's call the game Duel. And then the game name had been taken by another VR game. And I was like, damn it. Dylan's like, don't worry, Dane. A rose is still a rose, no matter what you call it. We'll call the name Arena Duel Champions. No, Arena Champions Duel. No, Ascended Rivals. No, Champion Combat. No, Becoming Champions. No, Ascending Champions. No. And so, like, and then Tribal Rivals. No. And then finally, we land on Arena Rivals, and it's probably the best name.
Mhm.
Was there any doubt though? Were you like, had you sit on it, or you like, no, like you looked at each other and you're just like, this is it, like this is the say all be all.
No way, man. Every day I doubt that name. I'm like, wait, it's got to be the best name in the world. Like, it's like, what do we name this? It's like you have a dog you love so much, you change the name every week because it doesn't fit how badass the dog is. But like, and then the dog's confused because it doesn't come to anything because he doesn't remember his name. Like, Arena Rivals, man. Well, like I really, the team actually really helps save a lot of things. Like I say, I don't let anything that sucks. The team doesn't let me do anything stupid. And I try to do a lot of stupid stuff, and I don't think it's stupid. But 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh, they're right. I was pretty stupid, So like, there's like, guys, we're gonna name the game Ascended Rivals because it's all about ascension. We're gonna go on the ascension path, and you ascend through kindness. And I've got all these acronyms for it. This whole storyline, Ascended Rivals is the name. And the team's like, we don't like it. And I'm like, no. They're like, everybody agrees, Dane, it should be Arena Rivals. And I'm like, God damn it. And so like, I call up like my life coach and I'm like, they want to call the game Arena Rivals and it's about ascension. And my coach goes, I think your team knows what they're doing. You should probably call it Arena Rivals because you don't really like want to ascend until you know something's fun anyway. And Arena Rival sounds more fun. I think you should probably listen to your team. And I was like, oh my God, you're the best coach ever. And I came back, I was like, all right, guys, it's going to be Arena Rivals. You can thank my coach.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm curious. Oh, sorry. I'm curious for you guys, like that, like there's kind of a term for that, and that's killing your babies. So like, how do you guys deal with killing your babies for the game? Because I know that like you guys take a lot of critiques of the game very seriously. So I'm curious on how you guys, handle that and deal with that.
But mostly antidepressants. Every design meeting, we just all pop one. We're like,
they're out,
I don't think any of us actually own antidepressants, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all gonna be hypothetical. What's my lovely word pickle that I use all the time that I have to use so we just don't get sued or anything?
Allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against antidepressants at all, right? Like they do serve a great purpose. So like for us with the game, like it is brutal, pickle. Like it can be just absolutely brutal. So like it sometimes it'll take like, man, actually it's really difficult because the first, like I was so passionate, the game has to be this and it has to be this and none of this over here. And then a player will come in and they'll suggest something that's over here. And I'm like, fuck you, bro. Like, we're not touching that. There's no way. Like, but I'll be like, well, thank you so much for this feedback. Can you tell me what's so important to you about this? And inside, I'm like, we're not doing any of this.
Oh, so you just hear a whole bunch of fumbling. He's getting up.
I'm not touching this.
Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, we're just not gonna go with that idea. We're just not gonna go. It was a great idea, by the way.
That's a little bit because this game is like my inner child, and so like sometimes like I'll throw a tantrum and then I'll kind of wise up to it, and it's really fun. It's actually really fun because it's the most emotional journey in the world. So like one of the features was people would come into the game and they would get easily nauseous, and I'm like, these guys are they don't understand. They're stupid. Only stupid people get nauseous. And then I would like put like one of my friends put one of my friends in the game. He's like, dude, I'm getting so nauseous. And I'm like, I know this guy.
He has a headset on. You just freaking knock him out. He can't see the fist coming.
Well, like the friend gets nauseous and I actually see the experience. I'm like, ooh, this is really painful. This isn't about stupid. This isn't about intelligence. You should probably open your heart a little bit here, Dane. And I was like, okay, so let's kill the baby, so to speak. And let's look at this. And we actually find the core of the problem for the nausea. And once we found the core of the problem of the nausea, we were actually able to design mechanics around solving that. But we were guessing for like 60 days about what would solve it. And we get a little bit of the way there, a little bit of the way there, but more nausea. Sometimes nausea would be, we'd unreliably cure nausea. And then it hits me, we can clearly define what creates nausea. And once we could clearly do that, we were able to solve the problem. And I didn't want to solve that problem. I wanted people just to play the game as it was. And then probably one of the most the basic pattern, Pickle, is like someone suggests something, I would rage against it. And then like a week later, I'm like, dude, that's really smart. And so like probably the most common one was the snap turning. Like players would come in, and Dylan was telling me, he's like, Dylan like knows everybody in VR. He's like, so I think the guy from like Upload VR or something came in and played our game. And he's like, dude, like, where's the snap turn? And I was like, just turn around in real life. You know, he's like, no.
A lot of people don't. I turn around in real life.
I hate turning around in real life. I'm all smooth turn. I'm not even snap turn. I love smooth turn.
No, I hate if you make me snap turn in any game, I'm throwing up within the first hour.
Yeah.
And that's like what I didn't understand. So like he suggested like the snap turn, and I was like, pretty much like, over my dead body are we building that stupid feature? and sure enough, it's a primary feature in the game now, snap turns. And I'm really and I actually use the feature.
Yeah.
I use it. So like that's a long answer to your question, Pickle, but I really love the user feedback, because what happens is people will suggest feedback, and I was like that sounds really dumb. And then and I'm like, well, hold on, there's probably some wisdom in it. And then as I kind of like circle them around the issue, it like builds awareness towards something, and we actually end up building a great feature around it. And that's kind of like the way that I can like hold all these thoughts in my brain and watch them and not let them kind of guide or direct me is, I guess, just a lot of practice, because the thoughts are going to kind of fire. So since the thought, like, I'll be like, that kind of sounds dumb. And if I have a thought that fires like that, it's like, oh, there's something I don't understand. And then we kind of go in. It's really fun to listen to the user feedback, actually, because it like opens up a world that we're completely blind to.
Yeah.
Well,
we're obsessed with it, right, Dylan? We're obsessed with the user feedback. Like our team will talk about players' feedback a lot.
As developers, right, when you build a game, you don't realize that and I've built I've been teaching people how to build virtual reality since 2014. I've been running virtual reality hackathons since then. I was the original backer of the Oculus headset when it came on Kickstarter. So that came in 2014 or 2012. 2014, I started my meetup group, and I started teaching people how to build it. Did it for a whole bunch of groups and places and universities and like USC and MIT and a bunch of other places like that all around, teaching them how to build and what is compelling and what doesn't work and why do people throw up all over the place and what creates awe in VR and all that jazz, throughout the years of doing it and creating it and all of this stuff. And I think part of it is when you get deep into a game, you will develop a limp that you don't realize is there. And then you have a crutch. And as a developer, you have a blind spot. And you're like, oh, you just, with the game, it's a little buggy. You just got to lift your arm like this to be able to play the game. And you're just, and then all the developers are just doing this naturally, right? And then someone that comes in new, they're like,
why y'all crip walking?
My arm up like this. Why do I have to do this? You're like, I don't know, because we didn't want to spend a week trying to fix this, and so you just hold up your arm like this. And they're like, that's stupid. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, guys, we should probably fix this. Nobody understands our
and you just have one massive shoulder. Behavior. You have like, but look at my shoulder though. It's freaking strong.
So as that, we develop these things, and when you develop in a silo, we have a tendency that like the game's fun. Inherently, it was fun. We want to make sure it was fun with boxes, squares, and cubes, and we know it'd be fun with beautiful graphics. But then along the way, when we bring in a core group of people to go and play and have fun, you start to see these things that you just blind to. You have this developer blindness. And so as we see these things, and then sometimes we are resistant to it because we just don't want to do it for whatever reasons. Either we're emotionally attached to it, or we're just being lazy, or there's some other thing that we don't see. But then, what's great about the feedback is like, you start to get that. And then like there's like this embracing of it, and then we go into it, and then you love it, and it's great. So, much like a lot of things in this world, sometimes it's easily embraced, and then sometimes it's just so painful. And then you're like, and then you get around, you're like, you're right. You know, there's things that you don't want to do. It's like working out. You never want to work out, but you feel great afterwards. I feel the same way about bugs and the things that people recommend. It's like beforehand, you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then afterwards, you're like, I'm so glad we fixed that.
But here's the thing, though. You all are figuring this out in an early stage. Like, we know devs, I'm not going to name names. There's some that are so arrogant and think that their game is 100% foolproof and their features are 100% accurate and to what should be believed to be the best game out there. And I can sit there and name a couple handful of people that I'm just like, you all just need to go and just go hang out like a couple little kids for a little bit and just like relax. Like, you all just need a step down a little bit and like realize that your game is not that good at all. It's like, yeah, it did have its moments, but you know, if you're not fixing all the things that we are waiting for, then I'm leaving the game. It's just, I'm sorry. And and like, even seeing your game from the very first time I've seen it I remember the first time I played with you all, and you just said, hey, like, what do you want? Like, what do you want for the thing? And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, no dev has ever brought me in. They're just like, you like this feature? You like this feature? You like this feature? I'm like, geez, like, calm down. Like, you all were embraced that. Like, you had a person there, like, hey, like, just tell us what you want. I'm just like, you know, this is what I think. I'm gonna try this out. And then as we talked, I was like, hey, I didn't like this feature. And you're like, hey, just go to the options. We have we have different modes. You can change the Z and the Y axis. I'm just like, well, shit, that's awesome. And so, I really enjoyed the development of like what you were all doing, and like even the things that I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about, but even seeing things that I've even mentioned that I'm like, okay, that's in there now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like one thing I tell my friends about the game, I'm like, dude, the devs actually listen, and that's what I really appreciate about you guys.
Yeah, that's a major thing.
You guys are kick-ass devs. You guys actually listen to the community and try to make the best game possible, and we can see it. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
oh, that's awesome, man. Well, I think my arrogance. So you had to kind of chip away at my arrogance with the game, Geraltzy, because like that first like snap turn feature, I'm like, over my dead body, we're like, it's gonna ruin the game. Right?
Yeah.
Now 6 months later, I use it. So how much can I trust myself? I mean, for God's sake, and so. When something has shifted we've probably got like 100 plus points of feedback about the game. When you get up to like 100 plus points, it starts to become kind of pleasurable actually, because you're like, what else can you help us improve? And I think something shifted for me, Dylan. I don't know about you, but like I genuinely care about people coming into the game and having a good time. And so if they come in the game and they're not having a good time, like my heart hurts. I'm like, shit, they're not having a good time. Like, what's happening for you? And then we'll have a meeting about it. We'll design features. And then next week, someone new will come in and they'll have a good time. And we're like, all right, cool. We got that one. And now the next time someone will come in and they're like, I don't know about this. And so my heart will start to hurt because like, I just want everybody to come in and have a really good time playing the game. And so we're very, 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 very adamant about like the tiniest details, because there are games that are like amazing, but there are like 15% part of that game that sucks that make 100% great, 100% game that could be great now, like an 85% game. Just little things. There are like little things where a game's just like almost at that dream game. And like every gamer I know is thirsting for those like epic flow state hero moments where everything just clicks and everything just works and everything flows and vibes and like it's all connected, and you feel connected to a greater purpose, and you feel connected to a social hierarchy, and you feel connected to a progression system, and you feel connected to everything happening in the game. And it's like, you're like, oh, this is what I thirst for as a gamer. And since we have such sensitive hearts, we're driving like madmen to that destination. And most developers are so logical and analytical, they don't have the heart turned on to the degree that we do, that they don't pay attention to the sensitivities that actually really, really make a game fucking awesome from the time you turn on that menu to the time you take your headset off. So like in our game, we're a fast-paced hero shooter that kind of plays like a Smash Brothers brawler, right? Like kind of like a fighting game, like you said, Pickle. And like when you take off your headset playing our game, you feel good because you're like in a high, bright, loving environment with beautiful, bright characters. You're not playing like a Doom, Dark, Quake, Skulls, Blood and Bones. And
Yeah.
like, and that's what and then when you like, when you like take off a headset, when you play like your typical shooter, like there's something that kind of like, you're like, oh, I was kind of like in a darker energy for a bit. But when you come into Arena Rivals, it's uplifting from the get-go. So like even in between like battle matches, we have like a warrior reset where between every game you'll take 2 deep breaths. And sometimes I don't want to do it. I'm like, I don't want to breathe right now. But then I'll just do the 2 breaths and I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. And then I play better the next game. So we have a kind of a forced 2 breath meditation in between each game to reset your body, and kind of have you refocus. And then we're really focused on this, man. Like it's really important to us that we build a game that people feel more loved when they take their headset off, not worse about themselves. And this is subtle stuff. Like if you play like Heroes of the Storm for Blizzard, like which is one of my favorite MOBAs, and like it's such a fun MOBA. It's like the best MOBA in the world. That the management just of Blizzard just botched it for some reason, but the game's incredible. And you go in there and like you go into a map and like the voice will go like, "Prove your worth, player." And you're like, shit, man, like I'm not worthy. Wait, I got to prove my worth in this game versus like something else coming in. Like we have a divine mother in our game, and imagine the voices like, "Have fun, my beautiful child, play your heart out." Like these subtle little things that are going to be creeping into the game that just subtly program into the unconscious that life's about play, life's about being yourself, life's about being kind to yourself when you fail, kind to your teammates when they fail. Like, could you imagine just one thing? If one thing happened, if every video game player in the world was kind when their teammates screwed up, what that would do for gaming. And we're actually going to be building mechanics into our game that will show you how to encourage your team. Like, hey, a teammate just died. Here's what you can tell them. And it's like, hey, man, it's okay. Try again next time. Or like you'll have like phrases and we'll be able in the game to meet players' hearts. So they literally take their headset off and they're like, oh my God, I matter a little bit more than I thought I did. And that's what we're going to do.
So when you guys pushed this game and started developing it, did you always have the mindset of having this non-toxic community type of uplifting, type of prerogative going towards forward, or did you guys start doing this and then through your enlightenment of like understanding like what a game takes to be and like actually listening to people, you're like, hey, if we're trying to like actually listen to people, maybe they should also listen to others as well. Like, so when did this type of mission that you all brought into this?
I'll kick you off here, Dylan. I'll tee you up on this because Dylan has one of the most beautiful hearts you'll ever meet, and it's incredible. Like I get emotional thinking about it because Dylan will drive 2 hours during rush hour to help boys rehabilitate from prison back to the real world. Like Dylan's life is dedicated to kindness. And so like when I built the game, I was like, duel, madness, aggression, make it bright and happy and healthy, but let's kick the crap out of each other virtually. And Dylan's like, do you want to like make this about anything deeper? And so that was Dylan. I think that was really Dylan's doing, to be honest.
Piece of it. I mean, when you make games, right, like a piece of you goes into it, right? And I was part of like Dane's group. So Dane's actually a legit entrepreneur. Like if you Google him in a googly space, you'll find out like in a lot of ways that he teaches tons of people like how to actually build successful online businesses, be badass entrepreneurs, do very, very well. And so I met some of his groups, he got me feeling because he plays guitars and channels songs about entrepreneurs, and I was feeling I was all crying listening to him and stuff. He gets very it was very interesting because I'd be a part of those groups and he'd be like that. And then we'd jump in the game and he's like, let's knock each other out. Let's go. I was like, is it the same person? Is it the same person? I'm very confused with the situation. And the thing is that like, there was, we've done a lot of work. And I think as especially like entrepreneurship or anything that you do, right? You in order to get your business better, your business is a microcosm of your nervous system, right? So your business can only go as far as you allow yourself to go, right? And so in games, in sports, in any high level sport, you look at it, the people way at the top, they're not toxic. The dudes that are at the way at the top, they understand that this is a challenge. They understand that person that is being toxic towards them or whatever, they're just challenging them to get better. Mm-hmm. They can take all of that stuff and they can reframe it. There's reasons why mindfulness and meditation and all these types of things come into esports because to be able to push yourself to your limit, but then be able to keep stability in your heart and your mind and your spirit. That's what allows you to actually ascend. So if you really look at it, the point of a rival, it's not like that person's putting you down, keeping you down, all this stuff. They're challenging you to be better, right? And if you just look for the easy path and you just wish everyone would take it easy on you, that's not fun. That's not a challenge. But the real true people that level up in life are able to be kind to themselves and kind to other people while still giving it their all. And so we just took the lessons learned, the things that we've gotten. Dane's taught me a ton of lessons. I've learned a bunch of lessons. And we try to impart these lessons to the people that are younger, that like you get the crap kicked out of you when you're young inside of a game. You don't know what to do. You feel powerless. And people go inside games to feel powerful, right? And so we want to be able to help people feel powerful in the game, have fun, make friends, and then learn lessons that will serve them not only in the game and not just rage quit, but be able to take that and go and reframe that moment to actually be better. That's the reason why we have that warrior set meditation, because if you can just, in that moment where you're so pissed and you want to rage quit, you can just take 2 breaths in. Well, then maybe in life at a moment in time when you're rage quitting and you're about to rage quit in a situation in life and your boss is pissing you off or something's going on, you're like, you know what? I'm going to do 2 deep breaths, right? And that can serve you. Right? Because it's a micro, the game is a microcosm for life, and so is the business. And so these are just lessons that we've learned that we're trying to hopefully impart, but not as like shove it down your throat.
You know,
it's like part of life.
You know, Garrett, as you asked the question, like, am I supposed to call you by your gamer name on this, by the way?
I don't care.
That's his. Well, actually, never mind. I was about to say that it is his name, but no.
So Gerald C is literally my name with a Y added to the end of it, because why not? It's been like that. It's been like that since the dawn of my gaming time.
You know, my buddy's got a gamer name called Y Pento, and they're like, Why Pento? He's always like, why not? And this other guy goes, why? He's like, why Pento? And then he said, because black beans suck. And you're like, oh my God, Pinto beans is very funny. It's like really weird, like whatever the dark beans are. So I'll answer this question. So what happened is, like, we want to make this great game, and then as we notice that we're going to have the attention of players, we're like, now that we have the attention of players, how might we instruct them to connect more greatly to their truest and most authentic potential? And we're like, oh my goodness, as we have players' attention, instead of trying to hook them with an addictive dopamine game loop, what if we actually tried to influence their greatest potential? And so then we're like, all right, so we're going to design the Arena Rivals mobile app. So maybe it just pings you every once in a while, like, hey, take those 2 breaths. You know, it's like maybe you're driving in your car. It's like, oh, do your warrior breath, 2 breaths in, 2 breaths out. And we'll do like positive brain challenges where you like say something kind to someone you love, and you can like report that you did that to the community in the app. And then we'll have talks on like the basics of building legacy level wealth, or like the basics of emotional control in the arena, or like the basics of how to give, like, for lack of better politically correct words, like how to give 0 fucks if someone's coming at you. Like imagine a toxic player coming at you, be like, God, you suck. What is wrong with you? How could you think that way? That was the dumbest move in the world. And you're just like wide open heart, and you're like, oh, that guy must be hurting, and then you're like, hey man, are you hurting? Did you have a bad day? Mm-hmm. And we're going to train people how to do this. So like, we genuinely fiercely care about the well-being of our players. Like for me, in my heart, I like legitimately like love every player in our game, from Pickle to Lord to Storm. Like we have a small player base right now, and every time I see him, I just feel love in my heart for him. And I'm like, and part of my heart's like, is there anything I can do for you at all? And that energy of like getting the chance to love a generation of gamers that are going to a game to potentially check out, and while they're checking out, reach their heart in a way that could change their life forever, to let them know that they authentically and genuinely matter, and not that they need to prove their worth, in every match, but it's like, you guys are awesome. You're awesome. And we'll show you all the ways you're awesome. And like, we legit had like a straight, like super toxic moment in our last tournament, and it like turned around into like pure love and apologies. And I don't know a single game where I've ever seen anything like that happen. And we don't even have the mechanics built in yet, but the culture code of our game of generosity is just like felt. There's just like this genuine respect for the player. And And like the guys that were toxic with each other are like now kind of like connected and like quasi friends and will play one-on-ones with each other. And they used to like they were at each other's throats during the tournament for a hot minute. It was like so imagining, if players can be kind to other players and they make mistakes, that's one thought, and that's what we're going to build something around. But then imagine is like if the players that could be toxic to each other couldn't end up becoming good friends. Oh man, it's gonna be so cool.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if you were there for Coder, the Master of Combat, but he is a legitimate uh, beast. I mean, he actually trains like professional UFC killers.
You're talking about the guy that the very first tournament that spoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I was listening there, and I have everyone over because I'm recording it. I streamed it, you know, and I'm looking over there trying to get all those on stream in case I need to cut it or whatever. In the corner of my eye, to see all of these tank walls, I'm just like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah.
Like, it's getting nutty over there. I'm like, geez, I'm just listening to this lovely speech over here, and I got you guys just distracting me.
Dude's a legitimate killer. I met him when me and Dane got to hang out for the first time. I met Dane in person for the first time, and I was like, wow, you're not just this floating square on a screen. It's so confusing. And he brought Coder along for it, and he's just like this peaceful, quiet dude. And I'm like poking him to just kind of see what happens, right? I'm like, what about, I'm like, what about this? I'm like, what about this? I'm like, because like, see, he was all zenny. I'm like, no one's just normally zenny. What's going on with you? Talk to me. And I was like hitting him right, and then I come to realize that he is actually like, he is super zen, but he could just break me in half, and he just chooses to be super zen. And I was like, I'm so glad society exists, and you can't just monkey dominate me right now. It's just, he's got real lessons because he really teaches people like when your life is on the line and you're actually in combat, like that's like he helps people get in the right mindset. And so Dane's been able to bring him in and bring in some of his wisdoms, and we're going to be doing talks around emotional control in the arena and what does it take, because we all struggle with that, but the challenge is we don't know how to channel it, right? We all get pissed off and we don't know, and so we default on whatever comes out. And so if you just learn a better way and get new skill sets and things, it can serve you in all those other situations of life, so not only in the arena. So
yeah, but you get to meet a lot of interesting people, and because you have the Heroes of Reality podcast, and every time I go on there and watch it, you have a very educational person that really knows their stuff, and it's always about like the better of the world and nothing like political, nothing like that. It's just very too tailored to what your your senses as well. So you have anything else to say about that?
I mean, I've had some wacky people.
Okay, there was one person I was listening to this. I'm just like, what in the heck is going on? I'm not going to mention who it was, but I was just like, oh.
There's a number of people I got on. Just people I find interesting, and also it's an interesting way to learn. But I mean, some of like I've had Matthew on, or I've had Coder on, who was part of that, and a couple other people that Dane knows, and we're taking those knowledge and bringing it in. But I'm just fascinated with the hero's journey. The hero's journey is the story of people transforming who they are into who they need to be or want to be, and they get something out of it, not just like the holy grail that they seek, but they transform, and that's the more interesting thing. And I think you think about like in order to like level up and like be a pro at anything, pro at gaming, man, you can't what started you at level 1 is not what's going to get you to level 100. So you got to grow, level up, and that happens in games, it happens in life. And so like we don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just figure out what it is. And there's a lot of things that it's I think one of the greatest ways to learn is either through experience is a very direct teacher. It's just not too kind. But one of the other ways we learn is from other people that are on the path ahead of us. And they're like, hey, don't jump into the snake pit. I know it might seem like a way to save time, but you might want to go around that thing, man. So that's what I'm fascinated with. And that's what we're hoping to do is take some of these lessons and bring them into the games and have people have a great time. And hopefully like maybe learn a thing or two the moment when they most need it,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the podcast is about and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen some good episodes. Like you said, there is one person on there. I'm just like, I don't know how he's doing it right now. Like I'd be like, I have to check out right now. I'd be like,
I'm like this sometimes. People are so smart. I'm just a head above water. I'm like, just keep treading, man. Just deep breath and stay focused. I think one of them was one of the other guys that we have from the master of ceremonies, Adler. I think that was the one you might have been commented on, where he was talking about like the okayedness, and the dude was just like dropping wisdom bombs. I'm just trying to catch him.
Yeah.
Just trying to catch him.
Yeah, I
as
was
they fall
commenting on that one. Yeah.
it was me. Sometimes a deer head's like, I'm like, I have no idea what to say next now.
For sure. So, Pickle, you have anything questions over there? And we should also be getting to the time where we eventually do
Oh yeah,
grinds your gears.
grinds our gears. I can't think of anything right now. I was just focusing on what Dylan was saying mainly, and I was just like,
Yeah, I saw your avatar. Your avatar wasn't moving. I see a left arm twitch every once in a while.
I was
but
just
that was
staring.
The first podcast we had like, hey, maybe you move your arms around every while, and he's just like, okay, I'll just do this, and it's like.
That's what I usually do when I talk. Like I'll go like this or that,
Which is the Italian thing. Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're coming up for ideas for like Halloween. I'm thinking that we might give him a gorilla avatar, and then I might be a banana suit or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All sorts of fun ideas. But so yeah, we do a segment that we do every week that we kind of brought just to kind of unleash like what's kind of on our minds and kind of talk about it. And it's called, just like from Family Guy, what grinds your gears, how Peter Griffin would be on there and you're like, what grinds my gears? There's chickens running around everywhere laying eggs, just the stupidest shit ever. We'll let you all go first. We always like the guests to go first, and we kind of go around tables. So Dane,
well,
Dylan,
maybe
what? Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe you should go first so they get an example of.
Don't make me be put on the spot.
I don't want to be put on the spot. That's why I was gonna put you first.
All right, let's see what grinds me my gears. Okay, I think what grinds my gears the most is owning an esports organization can be a pain in the butt. I literally will be just having the greatest day of my life, and then be like, hey, just let you know, our whole entire #1 team that is, for this game just picked up and left to make their own organization that just copy our model. And so that's what been grinding my gear this week. That kind of been fun. So, but it's always about rebuilding when you do orgs. Like, man, it's crazy building an esports org that you get burned a lot, but then you also learn a lot of lessons. Like, a lot of people want like money out of you, or like jerseys, and it's like you have to be like really subtle. Like, hey, if you want this, you got to sign a contract with me that if you win any money, you're gonna forfeit over a percentage. If I'm giving to you, you have to give back. And so a lot of people are like, no, we're just going to play with you until you get sponsors. I'm just like, all right. And then they're just like, well, I think we saw you run this. We're now going to go do it ourselves, but maybe try and do it better. I'm just like, best of luck. It's not as easy as you think it is. So, fun time.
Yeah. It looks easy on the outside, man.
Oh, it's always easier on the outside. Like, I run all the social medias. I design the website. I try and somewhat not be stupid, because there's some it's like I meet a lot of devs, and there's certain devs that absolutely hate my guts. Like there's certain discords, like there's one of my favorite games I'm on, and I'm not even allowed on their Discord, and I'm just like, all right, whatever. I'll play your game still though.
Yeah.
Why aren't you allowed in their Discord?
So they're the only Discord that won't let you post Discord links, and as a busy person, I'm in every Discord posting like, hey, come join our team, stuff like that. Well, I accidentally forgot after a month, and I posted it for their third time, which is the third strike, and they banned me for the rest of my life. And I'm just like, I tried to contact him. I'm like, hey, this is kind of lame. Like, can I just be like come back in 6 months? And they're like, no, you're done forever. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But anymore, I just let it go. I'm just like, whatever. The biggest one I'm ever on is Virreal, because they are who runs the league. Now, if they ran the league and I'm not in it, that'd be a problem. But anymore, the only thing they do is have extra releases on doing beta stuff. But that doesn't hurt my feelings not doing that. So I'm like, all right, whatever. As long as you don't kick me out of the game that I'm literally competitively playing in, I'll be fine. Yeah, it's interesting, and it just it's like with your guys' thinking, it's like, how can people just have so much just not want to like get along with people. And I sat there and I've even sent like a straight up message, just like, hey, I appreciate you. Like that's all I said. I was like, dude, like you, whatever you want to do, I don't care. Like we can get over this. But I told my co-owner of Havoc, I was like, hey, if he doesn't message me back, then I'm just gonna let you know that he is probably the problem. And then he still has not messaged me. I'm like, hey, then that's what it is. I tried my best to make amends, so it is what it is. That's what grinds. Well, not that doesn't grind my gear, but the whole team stuff. But you got anything cooking up, Pickle?
So my stuff's pretty basic. It's not as spicy as it usually is.
Damn.
You know, roasting a certain group of devs that allegedly, I'm allegedly roasting them, but no. But what grinds my gears this week is I've been like modding Skyrim VR and like getting some of the like special edition mods to work for VR is total pain. Like just trying to, because what Skyrim is with special edition, it's on a different patch than like VR, but it's the same like base game. So you kind of have to work around it and it's a total pain. Just trying to figure all that out. But yeah, nothing too spicy this week. So
Dang, you're the spicy one usually.
I know. Yeah, if you guys want to check out the other episodes, you could see a little bit more spice. But
So anything grind your all gears over there? Either coding, and in the Discord, anything like that? Any like approval process that you went through?
I mean, I think. Well, let's see what happens when I rant. So I mean, for me, one, I think with with meta and stuff. I mean, one, yeah, it's a little hard to get through. They don't really pay a ton of attention. So it took some time to get up and going in that thing. Thankfully, the approval time did take a while, but I think they just got overwhelmed. They're like, just go your thing. I think the one of the things is I know they started to charge. I think their own meta. They had like a Meta Horizons thing, and they're charging like if you want to use their Horizons application on top of the thing, they're taking close to 50%.
Oh my god!
Wow.
We talked about that. We
Yeah.
talked about that on the podcast.
30% for the store and like almost 20% to use the application. So they're taking like 50% of the things. And I think one of the things that's frustrating is that they're like, we don't want to own. They're like, we don't want to own the metaverse kind of thing, but at the same time, they have a complete closed system, and then they try to charge the most possible. And I think they're trying to just make up for lost revenue from like Facebook dollars and ads and things like that or whatever. And they're trying to scoop. I mean, I'm grateful for the fact that they made such incredible tech, like the Quest is banging, but sometimes when they're such a big organization and we're smaller, you do get overlooked a little bit along the way. But I think that would be my major grind my gear kind of thing. I think the other one, just want to talk on the one, is like people that don't come back to the table. Like I think it's okay to get pissed at each other and talk shit and get mad at each other and say things that you don't actually mean, you don't know how to say it or whatever, but it's that unwillingness to come back to the table. Like, so that's the thing I don't like, is like it's okay, like if I say something or someone else says something or something goes wrong, right, whatever, it's okay, we're not perfect, but coming back to the table and just saying, hey man, I don't know, either on both sides, either I messed up or you messed up or whatever, that willingness to come back and at least have a conversation. It's that ghosting, man, that forced disconnection where you're like, I don't know what happened, and they just ghost you. I think it's such like it's I don't know, it's like it's an easy out, right, when you could get so much more out of it by just showing up. I think it's just an easy thing to avoid. And I think it's just so much better when you come up and you just like on either side of the table and you create that opportunity to resolve things. I hate those unresolved issues. So that's my bits.
Gotcha. Dane, you got anything?
I'm a perfect human being. That's a vulnerable question, eh? So I met this guy who's building a phenomenal game, and he offered to kind of help give me some advice on how to potentially raise money for arena rivals if we wanted to go a blockchain gaming crypto route. And not something I'm rushing towards, but I was like, well, I'll explore it if it's in front of me and see if it could fit. And he's incredible. Like he's building an incredible organization right now. He's recruiting a lot of the top talent from Riot directly, and he's building something pretty cool. But I keep it all private. So like we reached out to schedule a call with one another, and then like last minute he rescheduled on me, and then I've been kind of trying to scramble to find a time, and then I no showed him on accident, and he's like, "Hey man, this isn't cool. Like I can't meet with you again. Sorry to be a dick, but I'm out." And it was like it broke my heart because I was like, "Oh, another founder building his dream game, and like I'm a founder building my dream game, and like I'd love to connect with this guy." And like so, I had to miss that connection, and the reason that it grinds my gears is because I can't do anything about it. Those are the things that actually grind my gears. So like for me, in the instance of like a top team or like a team leaving my esports league, that's something that you can learn from, create systems around, and like say, hey, you might think about doing this, and if you do, just talk to me, and maybe like if you do, just include me in as a 10% owner of your future esports. I'm training you now, and so now people that leave, they're like giving you 10%. Like there are ways you could creatively solve that, but when I get into these situations where I have very little control, it sucks. But in the Oculus example, like if they're taking 30 and then they're taking 50, there's nothing for me to be angry about there. I'm just like, all right, we're gonna make a PC game. Fuck you guys, we're out.
Right?
we'll, just
Jeez.
go, we'll just go PC and access 100,000x more players and make a ton more money and not give it to you. And like there's nothing to grind like. But when I get in these situations where I can't do shit about it, oh man, I'm like, those are the ones that kind of wrench my heart pretty hard.
Yeah. Definitely could see that, man. Like most consoles and everything I've ever seen, especially like in like PlayStation and Xbox, they kind of favor those small and upcoming. They'll actually feature them like, hey, this is a free game. Go ahead and play it. Get their things going. And it, might not be. It could be completely open world, just free to play. They might make a whole bunch of money in their microtransactions and stuff, but at least they're giving them the time of day to actually present it. And I think that's the number one thing that I really think that the MetaQuest is really lacking on, is really giving back to the people that are probably the little roots that are feeding their tree that they want to grow, because eventually people are going to be like, we're done making these small games. They are going to go to a PC world that's going to be better, and then you won't get these out of the loop like amazing games like something that you're all building. It's like they're not going to get that. Like they undermine you, and that's what's the kind of sickening part. It's just like, we're gonna go ahead and leech them out. We're gonna get as much money out of them until they're sick of us. Their game might fail, but if it does, we don't worry about it, and then whatever. And that's very sickening. And that's why I really love like side quests. Like side quests is really, I really appreciate like everything they're doing to give the viewership to the people like you that is needed and wanted. And not only that, they're actually, I believe, Pickle, you can correct me on this. I think we talked about it. I think they're also making a headset that actually will be using the side quests as their
Yes.
gaming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Pico Neo 3.
Yeah.
I've talked to
let's
Major a bit
go.
about that, but yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
going to be
definitely worth looking into.
be a huge thing, because yeah, they might not have these huge Oculus things, but you don't need. I mean, you have everything on SideQuest. It still has App Labs. They have their own SideQuest games that even go SideQuest before they can even make it to App Labs. The only downfall on that is that you have to double code your system. That kind of sucks to be on both platforms. But who knows how big they're gonna get, and with if people are gonna start taking money, who knows that a soon-to-be AAA game doesn't be like, hey, Oculus is screwing everyone over. I'm just gonna go to SideQuest.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll crush it because Pico 3, they're sponsored by ByteDance, and ByteDance owns TikTok. And TikTok has been eating the social media lunch of everybody, of YouTube, of Facebook, of Instagram, of everybody. So they are like the Chinese version of Facebook. They're dominating. They're now back in the Pico headset. I didn't know they're going on SideQuest.
Yep.
They're going to do a European rollout, I believe, as a test market, and then roll it out from there. But yeah, I mean, but that means they're going to have the complete player base. And then yeah, devs would have to. You always have to do that dual coding thing. But as long as they can try to, if they're if they're cloning as much as some companies tend to clone other successful clones, right? Look at controllers, right? 360 Xbox controllers versus other ones. If they keep it that kind of things the same, as long as it's not a major port, they should be able to. I mean, that's a real competitor going against Oculus and Facebook. I'd be curious to see how that pans out.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And I know it should be coming out at the end of this year or something like that. But I mean, I don't think Oculus is going to go any far. I mean, they did release that they're making like 4 more headsets by the time 2024 comes out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that people definitely need to do a petition or something. But like, hey, like it's really cool and all you guys are showing your best rated games that are all $40. But what about these, App Lab games that you still want to hide them in a button you have to click just to even. Like, I already did the damn search. Give me the game. Why do I need to search it and then click a damn button? Like come on. Like, that's so ignorant of them to do.
I think I'm not a fan of that either, how they handle App Lab, like, why make it so obscure, If you're going to take half of the money, you might as well make it easier to take half of the money, Which, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily half for all the games, but, like,
make a petition called Release the Side Bitch.
They came out because of SideQuest, man. The reason why App Lab is here is because of SideQuest, because SideQuest was in such demand, and Oculus like, I'm not going to look at it. And then it got so big, they're like, well, maybe we should look at that, and that's what happened. So, that whole groundswell of like, it's what people want, man. People want to get experimental. You should just click the button like, hey, man, I'm okay. I can handle like a little wild of a game. Let me see the Wild West, man. Open it up. So
I've played a lot of really good games on SideQuests and some that I played hours on, and then there's some that I'll open up and I'm just like, what in the world am I doing? Like, there's this one where I'm flying around with naked giants everywhere, and I'm just like, what the heck? I'm like, someone recommended this to me. Like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, sometimes you feel like you have to take a shower after those games,
Yeah, like 6 of them, scrub until my skin falls off. But so we're past an hour now, and that's usually how long we go in a podcast. But I really wanted to talk about the games, like just the modes, because I don't think we really dove into the modes before. We're like a little quick glance. If you guys wanted to give a small spiel before we leave this podcast, and then anything you want people to know about, I'll put it on the link in the description, or you can talk about it now if you want to. If you want to do like a small spiel of the game.
Dane?
Well, yeah, come and join our Discord. It's discord.gg/arena rivals. Discord.gg/arena rivals. Come say hi. If you get it, we do like since our player base is just building right now, we do scheduled play sessions. Generally Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday evenings are a great time to play as a group. Evenings of America time, not necessarily Europe time. But if you come in and you can schedule play sessions, it's the most fun experience I've had in VR, and I've played about every shooter, and I'm very picky. And it's the most fun because it allows you to have a fast game loop that gets you back into the action if you die. And it's also kind of round based. So another really great game that's out on SideQuest is called Grapple Tournament. And Grapple Tournament is a dope game. And
best AI in the world.
Best AI in the world?
Dude, it's like playing professional players, but yeah, so go on.
Yeah, well, and it's a really fun game. And yet still the game loop leaves me wanting more. And personally, and it's a really fun game still. And I would recommend it, and I would promote it in our channel and be like, hey guys, you gotta check. I want those guys to win, man. They're doing good stuff. And when you come down in Arena Rivals, you face off on the opposite side of a map, fire versus water, and you have 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, capture the flag, last rival standing, or an upcoming MOBA that we're building with an upcoming MOBA tournament that we're going to have June 25th with a full-on MOBA. And well, as full on as we can build for like an MVP, first experience of it. But we are there's something like, one thing I really like about Arena Rivals is there's this like kind of subtle anxiety in most games where you're like, where's the enemy? I don't know where the enemy is. I don't know this map. I don't know this map, and I don't know where the enemy is. And so what we have is we actually have every map that you play, you come onto a ledge before you go in, and you can see the entire map, and you can see the whole thing. So even brand new maps that you've never played before, you'll have a map awareness around, so you have a lesser of a new map anxiety. Then when you drop in, you take a rail in and you drop in, then you can kind of see the other side. You know where the other player is starting every round. You know where they are, which allows for this really fast, may the best player win combat, because it's really up in your face action. And I really like that we've designed the game to have as little anxiety about like, where's that player? Because you kind of have a general idea, but they can still hide behind things. There's a little bit of curiosity. And then you combine that with this like fast dynamic play where weapons can kind of chain together. So like you can just melt someone with Crystal, the healer, where you can stun, you can throw a sticky grenade, you can switch up to your double shot, double tap them with these like 2 white missile egg things, and then switch over to your switch over to your shield thing, and poof, and the person's just deleted. And if you go stun, grenade, triple shot, poof, and you can do that all in the course of 3 seconds. So it feels real good. You feel like an advanced like tactician. If you go on to like the hunter can poison slow dart someone. And so you can slow dart someone, switch to your triple shot, boom, 3 shots to the visor, goes ding, 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 highly pleasurable, then to the primary shot, right to the headshot, and you've just deleted someone in a matter of like 2 seconds. But it takes a lot of skill, but it's one of those games where it's easy to pick up and hard to master. And it's got this speed and flow to it. And when players came in the game, they're like, hey, I think it's too slow. And we're like, really? They're like, yeah, you should increase the player movement like by 15%. And we're like, okay. So we increased the entire game speed by 15%. Had to rewrite some network code so it could keep up with the increase. And then now the game moves a lot faster and it plays better because the player's like, hey, you should increase the play speed by 15%. I mean, Geraltzi, like you were like, hey, you guys might want to try building a MOBA. And like 2 weeks, we spit out a MOBA for you to play.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I wonder who suggested a little bit of that speed boost. No.
Pickle, a little bit of pickle in the house.
I love fast games.
Like a naked pickle in the wind, you know.
I'm Pickle Rick.
There's a future for the game actually where we have two since we have such a fun basic game loop, we can go a bunch of different routes. And so right now we're just building the player base and kind of seeing what are the players going to demand and what do we want to build and combine those two things together. And right now MOBA is quite a passionate request. And so we're building that out to a June 25th tournament for a MOBA. And there's also like, I have a whole entire map designed for an 18-player battle royale.
Oh, interesting.
And,
wow.
And it's pretty fucking legit. Like the map, I could do like a screen share and show you this map. It's glorious, but it looks like Egypt combined with Greece, combined with the Wild Wild West, combined with Tarzan's treehouse, combined with, it's got all these like beautiful 6 different worlds, and 5 teams of 3 go out, 6 teams of 3 go out, and they each go off into their individual world. And then those worlds zone off. So you're actually fighting only one other 3v3 team at once. So it's not like you're getting attacked from everywhere, but you have your zone in Egypt versus Greece, and you guys are going at it. And then those winning teams, the 3 final teams that are left, pop off, and the map shrinks up, and then it's kind of like every team for themselves. But building the battle royale is kind of a bitch.
Yeah,
so,
I got a fun game mode just thinking about it.
What's that?
So you have just a nice circled dome, and you have little square tiles that as you're fighting, random tiles start dropping off. You have to jump around and try and kill each other and knock them down the tile.
How big is this and how many players are in it?
It'd be like 10 people. And it shrinks, but then also there's layers as well. If you ever played Fall Guy, you know what I'm talking about. There's one level on Fall Guy that plays that way until you get to the very bottom.
And so when the tile's about to drop, it kind of like shakes and then drops 3 seconds later, so you can kind of get off of it.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Frank would be so busted on that. He'd just knock people
I
off
know, right?
and
Just
win.
headbutting people.
But maybe Frank's heavier, so like the things fall off a little sooner.
Right. Like, bye, Frank. Sorry for being a tub.
I envisioned the battle royale kind of being like potentially a future for it, but we're very fluid towards making a pleasurable game, and we're not trying to make the most popular game in the world. We're trying to make the most pleasurable game that we can, and so that just means that we're sticklers about like things like menus or load times or
Yeah.
like, you know, if a player is toxic in a game, what you can do to like isolate that, and like like when you think about like a League of Legends MOBA, it's way too complicated and the game is way too long. It's like a 45-minute game and there's like 50 items you could pick, and like it's just such a complicated game. And you can't commit to it like 45 minutes at a time, and then like half the time players are toxic. So like, could we build a MOBA that would be a 10-minute length that's just fast, and you would just go in and you're like crushing against each other, grinding hours till you get a thing. It's just like, and it's like about a 10-minute game. Maybe when 10 minutes happens, like certain things in the MOBA happen, like at 10 minutes, if you don't have the towers gone, they just instantly get deleted by the Divine Mother. Divine Mother's like, what are you guys doing? explodes all the towers. So then and then forces all the players in the middle to like a sudden death or something.
Oh, that would be cool.
and that's what we get to look at. And like any of these things that just make the game like, oh my God, I feel so lucky to be alive that I get to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right now we're going to promote the hero arena shooter, because the heroes are so fast paced. The arenas are so fast paced and fun. It's so rewarding that you can play them for a long time and never get tired of it, because there's so much variation to the game. So we're going to promote and trying to build our player base with the hero arena shooter while we build to see if the MOBA actually ends up making a bigger hit. And if the MOBA ends up making a bigger hit on the June 25th, and it's just kind of indication that we invest our resources there and just kind of go in.
But the good thing with the 3v3 and the 2v2s and the LRS, like that's already pretty much built, besides small tweaks you want to make here or there with updates. But you guys are getting to a point where the resources don't really need to be funded to that area anyways, to where it's like, what anymore can you do with the 3v3 besides making like some crazy shit happen out of nowhere and just So yeah, I definitely like what you're saying, like doing advertisements on the 3v3 and all that. Like the tournament that we did, the 2v2 tournament, and the one that I also I streamed, that was probably the best time I've ever had. Like I had a blast casting that for you all. Like I was screaming out loud in my house. I was having a blast. So it was a great time.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys seen the VOD, but when I like won that final match, Geralt just lost. He's like, oh, he's like, oh, he's laughing and raises his hands.
I did see it. I was wondering if you were maybe doing any drugs before that.
Might have been a little bit alcohol induced, but you gotta have liquid courage sometimes in your life,
The enthusiasm was amazing. I was like, oh my God, we made a game that is making a grown man holler like he's a little boy again. we have succeeded, my friend. We have succeeded. So thank you for streaming it. Thank you for the enthusiasm you brought to it. And yeah, that 2v2 tournament was fire.
Yeah. I think my best part about it and the greatest intake that I got from it is that it was the first time I was in a VR tournament where people actually were cheering, it wasn't toxic at all. Everyone was zoomed out. You got everyone from the tournament was outside of it watching the main thing from above, and it wasn't like, oh damn, they're doing this or they suck. It was just like, oh shit, they just did this, and it's like, oh, they're turning her back around. It was like everyone was becoming their own commentator, and everyone was just like, as soon as someone got a point, everyone was like cheering. It wasn't any booing. It was 100% like a full involved thing. I'm just like, this is kind of cool. Like, so that experience alone is that if anyone wants to try out a crazy tournament, like do one of their tournaments, or even I guarantee you get the same experience from doing the daily, the practices that you all have on your Discord. I know I did a couple practices as well until I got busy with contractors, which I'm gonna try and make it again very soon, as long as I can get off my schedule. But it's a great experience for sure. Like unlike any other. I can tell you that. Like I'll be in population 1 and we're zoomed up waiting for everyone to die, and someone will come up to me and be like, you just got double pumped in the face, like dumbass. I'm just like, who are you? So
Yeah.
good environment, and I really appreciate you all being on this podcast. Like this one was a really good one. I really enjoyed your guys' time. It was really active. Let me say that I really enjoyed the charisma and on the what is it called? Give me a word.
Talking.
Energy.
Energy.
I usually just
Yeah.
do this until he gives me a word, and then it kind of flows like that.
Well, I'll just say the one thing we did miss very briefly is that since every game has a little like lobby above it, or every arena, we have 3 arenas right now, and they all have a lobby above it. So like other players can sit and chill in that lobby where other people are going down at it below.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only game in the world that has that. Like no other game has this where like players can shoot each other and play around up here while people are going below. And if you want, you can just drop off the ledge and turn into a little flying thing and fly around and watch the whole game happen. And that's
Mhm.
you can even like throw little happy grenades at people and like celebrate.
this.
What are you doing?
Oh, you just start shooting.
I'm so
Yeah,
Nothing.
what's going on?
You're literally floating around on the thing right now, shooting people.
Oh, I see. You got a little had a delay. I think it's your I think my side of it a little
I see
late.
it.
Oh, I can't see. Olmec and the Hidden Temple. So,
well, yeah, thank you guys for your time as well. In terms of like, yeah, come to our Discord, man. Come meet us. Like, we're looking for like really passionate beta testers that like want to have a voice in making something that could really change the world of gaming, bringing pleasure and non-toxicity and features. Like, if you want to be a part of a movement like that, be part of the family. We're a bunch waiting to meet the right people.
Yeah, and so I have a link to your website. If you guys don't mind, send me your permalink with the actual naming on for the Discord link, so I don't have to go grab one. Those are just more clean looking than the XYZ35. Go play my game. But anyways, best of luck. Hopefully you guys see more people on, especially that you're with App Labs. And best of luck. Maybe a couple months down the road we'll have you back on and be like, see where you are, in a couple months, and then have another great conversation like this.
Thank you guys. Good to meet you both.
thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yep,
I look forward to seeing your face in real life there, Pickle.
He won't do it. I'm
Maybe.
gonna have to pay him one day $1,000 for it. Like, show me your face.
Yeah, you see, this is
The unboxing.
$1,000. I gotta make the money first.